Hello, 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 I'm Rangru,
And I'm Troublemaker.
and we are here again doing Clash of the Clans free tournament, and today we are on Paddyfield. So, on Team Run, on the Blufor side, we have Rolf, Empnicolas, Nicholas, and Hypokrass.
And on our red side, we have Team WUT with Zhukodim, Trusty, and
Yeah,
Captins with
that's...
his Smurf name.
Yeah, this is weird. Weird funny name. I don't know why he uses it. I believe he just nicked it off Google Translator. But yeah, some rather awkward Danish name. But yeah, we do have a NATO on NATO, I just noticed. So that will be a first.
Yeah, NATO should do really well on this particular map. It's
Mm-hmm.
very, very long. Bombers will be insanely powerful.
Mm-hmm. Especially on Hotel, it's a lot of open ground. You are very exposed to ATGM planes and bombers and seed that can constantly harass your ground units down here. So a very open-ended map, I have to admit.
And this map's very much in the spirit of air-land battle as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to European escalation. It doesn't have any real amphibious elements. It's
Mm-hmm.
all the zones in the middle are very tightly packed, and lots
Mm-hmm.
of cover everywhere.
Yeah, I find it really interesting how they do to Mike Lima and Echo Delta zones, because this is a line of zones, and I like to think of it as like a tug of war back and forth between the zones. As you have like little forests and the little sectors that you have to hold on to. Very chaotic between Lima and Echo.
It's going to be very unfortunate for WUT because Echo, of course, has the giant town there, which
Mm-hmm.
makes it much easier to defend.
Mm-hmm. I would make yeah, it's a bit of a disadvantage. That's a huge advantage, yo, for BPT, yo, because having towns very easy to hold and just plop a few ATGM guys in there, and nothing can move out of Lima. Yeah, you do have to admit they do have this sort of tree line that like hooks around into Hotel, which is quite a nice little advantage. And just below Lima, they got a few sectors to throw in some ATGM troops. So I think it sort of balances out in an asymmetrical fashion.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how. And this is something they said. The big players about ESL, they said that the minor imbalances decided matches.
Hmm.
Yeah,
The minor
and
map balances.
yeah, like
Hmm.
everyone had the exact same strategy. 6 7 months in the game, everyone was playing exactly the same, and it was all about who got the better side of the map.
Mm-hmm.
So this looks a lot better in terms of asymmetrical balance than
Mm-hmm.
previous attempts, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, Wargame. I just think Eugene. They do have some really good maps, but they are right. There are some minor imbalances between certain maps, especially in Airland Battle. That's pretty prevalent, like in Trondheim, for example, a pretty one-sided map. But as you said, it has gone a lot better. This is pretty even Stevens balanced. And yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. And oh wow, fast startup, 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy. We actually didn't have to mindlessly rant.
Yeah, and right off the bat, we got Mirage from BPT.
Yeah, this is
Was
going to be
frozen.
a great investment as long as they don't lose it. It's a very powerful air superiority fighter. Um,
I believe it's quite cheap, only 105 points. But it doesn't have many missiles, so it can't be on the field for too long. Good for getting run kill and buggering back off the base.
Looks like it's going to patrol around for a lot. Not wanting to risk too much with it. Just going to see if they can find something. And there is a Hilo invasion to the north that I could be supporting.
Oh yeah. Got those links is going to be dropping down. Same with that CH. Probably some SAS. Yeah, oh SAS. Bada bing, bada boom. There goes the C9.
And trying to play, it looked a little bit greedy, but it wasn't really. That Trip Knight, of course, is like 3 or 4 times the speed of the Lynx, and if
Mm-hmm.
he could sneak just one of those in, India would have been very problematic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
very aggressive game from BPT. They've moved up on almost all flanks right now.
yeah, very fast as well. Just instant action, getting right in there. They're moving into Lima a little bit, like a maneuvering around the bottom part, getting some gazelle count, takes in commandos in the bottom area.
And this is where that middle map feature comes in. They can play very aggressively because if they fail, they can fall back on that town with some cheap infantry. And it's working really, really well for them.
Yeah, they're now starting to move in. They're going to get some Mistrals, Mistrals and Milan F2s into the town, so shooting at the buggers in Lima. And yeah, there's Trusty now is going to have to hunker inside the forest and hope for the best.
Yeah, and I hope you got to see that bomb at Bravo. Roughly 35 infantry all died. Lots of vehicles. Still not stopping the push, though. I mean, he's still going strong. It looks like he's actually going to capture an offensive town in India.
That's going to be a nice old crossroad to handle, allowing him to move up it into India and even control the Mike to India route as well. Control a little bit of paraphrase here. And yeah, he's foot zerging into the town. Chieftain Marksman and Chieftain Mark 11 had to stop him now.
Now here's a funny kind of situation. Red invested very, very heavily in commands. Lots of commands. They're +6 right now.
Bloody hell. Got all their back points while BPT really skimping on the commands early on.
Yeah, we got 2 command infantries coming out in Lynx AH1, so it'll be a very short-lived lead, but it'll still be a lead. As long as they can hold back a lot of this initial aggression, they should be fine.
Yeah, Tactic Rev teams wouldn't get bloody command vehicles for their back bases. Dates back PLF did, is very popular tactic in ESL, especially when doing these frontal assaults, because every point matters. The more units you can have in your frontal assault, the more ground you can quickly take, and then you capture your back bases a little bit later on.
And it goes back even further because European escalation, of course, there's absolutely no benefit to getting extra commands. Whatever command you rallied at the beginning, that was it. No more point. And a lot of people just never stopped in that style.
Yeah, that's because it was destruction, wasn't it? It wasn't all about the point, it was about all CV did back in, and he was give you money for holding the sector. It didn't give you any points towards victory.
And very expensive they were. They were just things that would die.
Especially with the artillery meta in that game. Bloody heavy tubes just destroy everything.
And so now the bleed is down to +2. We're seeing a lot more infantry commands coming out, and looks like we're going into a longer game.
I do like to notice in India, with AMX 13, he's getting a flank on the command squad. He can at least spot it to blow it up a little bit later. Be a nice little kill. And yeah, he does spot it. It's going to be firing. And that command squad doesn't have an RPG, so it won't be able to really effectively fight back. Get a territorials jump out and blow it off with good old law.
Now this is looking very, very brutal for WUT. BPT is actually one of those teams that they did actually really good in airland battle, but they got heavily overshadowed because they were never one of the top 3. I think they have a few ESL wins, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so as well. I think they did a bit in ESL. You have Trusty, he's spearheading through the Echo Forest, using that as a cover so he won't get shot at by infantry below. He's going to just spearhead right through into Delta. There's not really too much, Flak Panda and AMX-30B2. Some infantry coming up now, but nothing really too scary.
It's a really smart choice. He's choosing to avoid these towns and just go for the throat, go for the reinforcement route.
And you don't really notice that too much a lot of plays. You can avoid towns. Some maps you can't really because it's a choke point and you have to move through it. But hey, you can just completely avoid that town and make your town advantage completely null if you just go right past it.
Now, unfortunately, he doesn't have any anti-air here at all. He's bringing up a closed arrow, but these Cobras are harassing him. There's some Intendards doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, and he's actually playing Japan, it seems. There's a full-on Japan deck. So he has quite a bit of light armor.
And heavy tanks.
Yeah, he has it's the Caillou. I believe the Caillou is Japanese. was thinking of the K-Run, that's South Korean M1A1 Abrams, but the Kaiyu's the Japanese M1A1 Abrams, very badass tank.
Yeah, and this could easily actually shift away from BPT. That middle push is really, really strong. They can get commands into. They actually have a command moving back into Lima to cancel the bleed.
Yeah, this is Zhukodim also helping out with Trusty and Zhukodim both moving into Echo. Zook bringing an M1A to Abrams now to get right in there. And as you've just in Delta, there's like bloody nothing there to stop you. There's a few commandos, Soap Marines, and a B2.
And right now, it looks like they're going to try and rely on their air power, which is something we said in the beginning. Like, air power was going to be very, very important on this map. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more helos come out.
Yeah. Yeah, tornadoes coming in. I'll be dropping in a bunch of bombs. And, yeah, to take out the closed arrows. Oh, no, barely misses him.
And that's rather unfortunate, because that was 2 different bombs missing.
Yeah, just, like... The closed arrows and short arrow, yeah, they were right in the middle of that bombs just coming right through. Very, very lucky, yeah. Very lucky.
I feel like we're probably missing a little bit of team support for BPT, because you can see in the south there's some Corsairs and they're just napalming, towns when there's a really, really big target to the north and there's a really, really big target in the middle that is guaranteed.
Yeah, holding that town hotel, it's pretty nice, but it's very isolated from like Lima and November. You can't really do anything too fast to attack in either of those areas. May not be the best choice of resources, but it is very undefended, so you never know. You never know.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I could understand one Corsair to try and, but all 3 Corsairs, each on a town.
A little bit overkill.
Yeah, there's a lot more things you can hit.
Yeah, speaking up north, we do have the Panzer Grenadiers. They did a great job with these Panzer Grenadiers. They do have the Panzerfaust 3, with its 800-meter range and I believe 24 AP power. So an absolutely phenomenal AT weapon. And they will just mess up his chieftains. Absolutely mess him up, and you eat them for breakfast.
Yeah, Hypokrass just dumped them. He didn't even care if they came to towns, because their range was so absolutely deadly. Yeah,
and they have the machine gun 3, just a really great infantry force. It seems now West Germany has a very solid infantry corps. They gave them a lot more, stuff to work with, especially with the Panzer Grenadiers and brand new Fortjägers being very deadly units. I do like how the infantry is work a little bit more towards West Germany's favour. And these 1A2s going around the flank in India could probably knock out the command squad. Start gaining the lead once again for WUT.
Yeah, and that would actually be very devastating, almost game ending, because that's not a wimpy 1-point base like in the middle. That's a full-on 2-pointer.
And if they put their own CV in, that'd be +4.
Yep.
So, yeah, you want to control India. Now, I'm actually quite amazed. There's not really too much infantry in India. A lot of them have been napalmed a bit, as you can see by all the scorch marks. But he hasn't really got a infantry force into the area to hold down India. The town is completely barren.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just a real lack of team support here. They do have the resources to defend this. They're choosing to use them elsewhere.
Yeah, I know, I think this is Captain playing on his top side. I know he really likes his British armour, so he's just been bringing out his Chieftains and Charlie 2s, which are great tanks. But in an infantry scenario, they're going to get eaten up, especially by the Panzer Grenadiers with an amazing rocket launcher. Now the command squads, they are going to get killed by the mortars.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time. All that needs to happen is for them to spot it, and that's the end of it.
And now BPT getting a very nice +2. If they can just hold onto that lead for 5 minutes or so, they can catch up to WUTs. And it seems like, yeah, BPT's starting to push them back. The Echopers got fallen back, got some reserve hits, coming in to try and finish up the tanks in the area. And they are moving up a bit into hotels, so BPT's starting to take an offensive lead.
And they're bringing in some short range AT to try and deflect that bridge. They already have the Marine Jaeger there, which they do have 2 heat, so.
And the sniper, very nice PSG run, which is good for shooting infantry and light targets. Now Zooks is going to move his Bradley over the bridge. Oh, yeah, gets shot by the TOW2. And I do think BPT will be controlling that bridge side left of Hotel.
Yeah, very, very soon. Yeah, this is looking pretty brutal. Honestly, it feels like Red needs to get their forces together and just drive right into the middle, where the 1 and 3 point bases. Put some light defenses, like cheap AT vehicles along certain edges, but dive right into the middle, because that's their only opportunity.
Yeah, holding middle, just if they can break through to Delta, it's like free. If they capture, it'll be like +6.
Well, on top of that, it also opens them up to Charlie, which is a reinforcement, crossroad, and Golf and Foxtrot. It's a good flanking opportunity.
Yeah, so just break right through the middle and just cut the enemy in half.
And most importantly, it plays the metagame. Basically, nobody in the entire world ever tries to retreat forces from their front to defend their rear. That just never happens. Oh, by the way, there's some SAS that got stuck in Bravo.
Oh yeah, he had some sneakily and north of Bravo, but they were out of singers, so they couldn't really do much. And all the Mirage is dropping in the Bidion Special, and the SAS getting a little bit toasty. And I think a command group may just survive thanks to that good old firewall.
That's weird. And unfortunately, not really a lot of artillery out on the red side, so they won't actually. This will actually full on get away. It looks like.
Yeah, both sides not really employing artillery whatsoever. After we do have BPT as like two M109s, but that's really about it. Nothing
oh my god!
Super heavy.
The command group died.
Oh, what got him?
The SAS was like dancing on fire, and he killed them randomly.
Yeah, last drill.
Well, that's a lot of good luck. Because yeah, now they're back to bleeding them out.
Yeah, and they're going to be bringing up a new run right up into Bravo ASAP. I think this WUT, they just lost their momentum. And this happens a lot, especially when you're pushing hard and hard and hard, but your stuff just keeps on dying and you're not making any progress. You just lose your momentum, and you try doing small group attacks onto areas, but you need to do run giant push. It's all about that run giant coordinated team push to gain back your areas, do the good old attack.
And unfortunately, they're just losing a lot to flat counters. Like a Kyoko bomber just went down. It's like 150, 160 point bomber. It's not cheap.
Yeah, it's Saberhawk run. It's really cheap. It's the Saberhawk run. It drops like 2 napalm bombs for 55. I don't want to like interrupt, but yeah.
But yeah, and in that push, they were running with 0 anti-air on this map of all, where it's a long route where people are going to be using a lot of bombers and all planes.
Yeah, speaking of bombers, tornadoes coming in once again. They can't shoot down these tornadoes. As you said, they don't have much AA, and I think it's sort of a deck problem, because Trusty is playing Japan. Japan doesn't really get a great choice of AA. They got Tan Sams, which are okay. They got those close arrows, and they got the gun tanks, but they're all very lightly armoured and easily be sneezed on.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's trying to make Japan work, but it just it doesn't.
I will give him a commendation for playing Japan in a tournament match, because you don't even see people play national Japan in normal matches.
Yeah, they got to it's one of those nations, and there are a lot of them like that, where they're so minor that it works really well when you have two flanks and you have a third person just filling in for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't work for a guy who's trying to hold one flank by himself.
Yeah, they don't have too much like strengthy units that can take a lot of damage. They have a lot of like very weakly armored tanks and some very gimmicky units that are very niche in the roles that they can fulfill. And they do lack in certain aspects quite a bit, but they do have some very nice units, like these M67 hands, like a 1,400 meter anti-tank squad that can fire against infantry at 1,400 meters. So absolutely devastating. But it's one of those niche units that's not entirely great in the grand scheme of things.
And now I'm looking at this, like I think Zhukodim is playing. I think Zhukodim is playing an American deck.
Yeah, I think he's playing just a pure American deck.
And I think Captins has a Commonwealth deck. Like I think it's all.
They all play national.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Mm-hmm. I do play them quite regularly, and I always pick like really silly decks all the time. So I can see why they're playing it. It'd be quite surprising if they wasn't playing national, to be honest. I don't really know too much about BPT. I think one of them's playing Eurocorp up north in India. He's playing Eurocorp, and in the middle Eurocorp, and the bottom looks like just mixed NATO mixed NATO deck at bottom.
See, the thing is, I think WUT has the right idea. I think mixing it up is the right way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think their implementation worked out well, though. Like, if they could, micromanage 3 flanks each and then just split up units according to what they need, that would have worked out a lot better.
Yeah, indeed. But I also just think they lost their momentum, and trying to push that momentum back can be really hard. And BPT just took advantage of that, and now they're just gaining as much ground as possible, and they're using their aircraft advantage. Like, look at all the Jaguars and Corsairs and Tornadoes that are being brought out. Just constant aircraft. The WUT cannot shoot down. And when you're getting like completely destroyed by the aircraft in this way, you can't really do too much.
And Nighthawk just killing off a command. That's rather brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just I can't see how they can get back in this without getting out. Even like they have been rallying out a lot of anti-air. They have a Tansam, 2 Tansams, and a short arrow in the northern flank now, and they're bringing in lots of supplies to make sure they're constantly resupplied. But it's at that point in the game where they need to get points removed from blue, and if they don't, they're gonna lose, because we're at almost the 70% marker for BPT.
Yeah, and it's just also BPT. They have a lot of forces. Like, look, in Echo, got a Laboratory 5, bunch of infantry. Not too much, but they have more in a concentrated area, so better attacking force and better defending force. Well, like, they're very thin and spread out. They hardly have anything on their front lines, to be honest.
Oh god, Twin Huey at Lima is about to wipe out an infantry squad.
Oh, Chieftain Marksman might just save him. Maybe? I don't know. I think the Hueys do have their miniguns locked on. And we're at TACCOM. Yeah.
That's brutal.
And they're gonna die as heroes. It's a Chieftain Marksman. Oh, will the last Huey get out? Oh, it's close. That Chieftain is wanting street revenge, and revenge it shall has. Huey does get destroyed.
Pretty crazy animation on this Huey. Looks like its top and its tail are on fire.
Oh yeah. I always loved that about Wargame. When a helicopter gets destroyed, it just circles to the ground for the longest time, and then just crash.
It kind of scares me, because when that happens in a closely packed area, the crash can cause damage to your own units. And I'm always like, oh god, move the other way, towards the enemy.
It's like when a plane just gets blown up in midair and it accidentally like rams its carcass, just rams itself into the AA. It's like those small moments in Wargame just make it up for me. Like, sorry, go ahead.
It's all those anti-air shots that miss because of the visibility, and then they just fly and hit a command or something. Those are the ones that's just like, ah!
I remember one thing quite funny. It was on a naval map, and I just an unarmed recon helicopter, and he had an unarmed recon helicopter, and there's nothing nearby. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna fly my recon helicopter right next to his because we can't kill each other. So I do that. He calls in a plane to kill my recon helicopter, which is right on top of his recon helicopter. They both get killed by the same missile. So he accidentally blows up his own recon helicopter and mine. Just close range.
You could have just described a brand new meta right there. Absolutely possible.
Just get a whole crap ton of like 20-point crappy helicopters. Just fly him right next to the Apache so it completely surrounds him. Turn off the gun. Wait for an interceptor to come and just blow you up. It blows up the Apache in the process. It's kind of like using it as a meat shield or like a hostage.
Yeah. Too hard to coordinate, unfortunately, I'm guessing.
It would be quite funny seeing that in a metagame, just a bunch of helicopters rolling right over. Just gonna ram into everyone.
It just gets volatile, though, of course. People start using the recon helicopters on top of, like, normal helicopters.
To see everything and blap, blap, blap. It's already bad with the bloody Apache longbow. It sees the tanks and then it can shoot them with its super long range Hellfire missiles. That will fire and forget.
Now, wouldn't that just ruin the game if there was such a thing as, like, air smoke? Air smoke, get really close to the Apache, and suicide.
Yeah, just looking at points, I think BPT, they have this in the bag.
Yeah, they earned this. Well earned. They got control of a lot of the map on all fronts.
They just managed to grind down Roch Force till it was just a blunt edge, and then they just rolled right through. But it was a very good early on attack from WUT, especially using these not so meta popular decks. So good try, good try.
I'd like to see more of it, but I'd like to see it refined, and that's... I think there's something to what they're doing, but this isn't it.
Yeah, I just find it fun because you never see it. It's better, like in Wargame Alien Battle, it was just mixed NATO on mixed NATO. It got really stale because it was always, mirror matches. But seeing these different nations and all these units that you don't really see too much, like you hardly see Tan Sam Sword Arrows or these Kaiyus or any Japanese unit really being used in the high quality competitive matches. So seeing them every now and again is a bit refreshing.
And there's no reason to believe that won't become the new meta. Like, right now, people are still really figuring out the game. Everyone's kind of doing something a little bit wonky. And, yeah, we're going to see pretty soon a game end. Like,
yeah. And some raw mirages coming in. I really think what made BPT also really win is just all the bloody planes. All the bloody planes.
Oh yeah, and this map is great for planes.
As you mentioned before, there's so much there's a lot of open ground in. The forests that you can hide in, they're very small, so it's just easy to blind fire them because everything's going to be nice and packed up and juicy.
And this was the only match from round 1 because of the odd numbers of people who played. So BPT, for winning this, will go on to face KOD Crazy Men, who haven't faced anyone yet. WUT will be facing off against... doesn't look like it's too bad for them. Either a Special Operations Brigade or Kings and Crowns, which, we haven't actually seen either of those teams yet, so...
Yep. We'll see how it goes. And with that, is going to be a GG. BPT actually gaining the point limit. And yeah. Nice KD advantage.
and it's a smaller one. It wasn't a total stomp. WUT will fall to the losers bracket, and they will have one more out before they're out of the tournament forever.
Indeed, indeed. And very good match. That is all we have time for. I'm Rangru.
And I'm Troublemaker.
Take it easy.